Okay. Um, so this video is going to be about how to be a good client. And what that means is you have to be really open. You have to be really open and you can't be ready to argue and things like that. We're going to get into that in a second. Um, I got to thinking about this because I have a business coach right now who is unbelievable, and she has really helped me grow. And she has led me to other business coaches that I've been getting some mentoring from who have really helped me grow and really helped me just like get to my next level. And I'm more relaxed about things. I'm not anxious. I'm not, I celebrate the little steps and any milestone that I reach or any goal I reach or anything good that happens, I celebrate it. I don't tell myself that it's not enough or what have you. So in learning how to be a good client to somebody else who is in the leadership position that's teaching me something, it taught me a lot about what it means to be a good client. And I thought that would be good to, talk to y'all about today. So I wrote a thing a few days ago about how to be a great client and make progress in your transformation. So I thought it'd be a good topic for a video. I'm going to try to not have this drag out too long. So I just have a short list. First and foremost, be ready to listen and to really soak it in. People don't take in what they hear. They hear it only to respond. They listen to respond. And there are so many people, and most of us, who listen to something and then only to have an opportunity to decide what our reaction is going to be. Okay, well, how am I going to, because the whole time you're hearing somebody say something, you're thinking about, okay, how am I going to react to this? When really, if it's a learning environment, especially if you're paying somebody to coach you or guide you through something, you are there for a reason, and it's because you know that you need the help, and it's because you know that you want the guidance, and you need somebody in a leadership position to help you get through something. And the best way to make that easy on both of y'all is to just mainly be a good listener and be open to everything that's said to you, and just take it in, really let it sink into your mind, and let it permeate your thoughts, and let it permeate parts of you that have been ignored, or parts of you that are still telling yourself the same old story. Because that's a big part of it too, is people pick a story that they tell themselves about their life or a certain experience or whatever, and they stick to that story for a long time, and they don't want to grow past that. But you have to, if you're going to transform, if you're going to go to your next level, you have to be able to look at what you've been telling yourself, and look at what you've been doing, and say, okay, what needs to change? Because, obviously this isn't working. So being a good listener and really soaking it in and really turning it over in your mind is the biggest first step, is to just, be ready. Be ready to hear things that might hurt, and it's not to deter you, but to show you what you need to change. So, like I say, you have to be ready to hear something, because especially if you hire, a therapist or a coach of any kind or whatever, anyone in a leadership position who is there to teach you something, or especially somebody who's there to help you change your ways, or to help you learn about yourself, or to help you see what you need to be doing differently, that's the whole point, is to look at yourself and say, okay, what do I need to start changing? What's not working? Let's look at what's not working. This habit, this mindset, that way of thinking, that routine, these words that you tell yourself, look at the shit that doesn't work. And you have to say, okay, do I want to continue this or not? It's one or the other. So with a coach, especially if you're paying them, or me, thousands of dollars to help you get past something, an experience or a memory or a lifestyle or a way of thinking or whatever. And I say, okay, this is what you've been telling yourself. It's obviously not working for you. What can we do to change it and make it better? And you have to be ready to hear that. You have to be ready you have to be ready to be wrong, is what I'm getting at. You have to be ready for somebody to tell you, okay, well, you've been wrong about that because look at what it's doing to you. And you just have to you have to decide to be mature enough to take that. Maturity is a choice. And you have to decide to be mature enough to say, okay, all right, that's what I've been doing. Yeah. Okay. And just take it. Take it for what it is, which is advice that is intended to help you look at yourself, tweak some things and do things differently and do better. That's all it is. Anything that isn't running totally 100% efficiently is going to need one or two parts replaced to make it run better. That's what you're doing with yourself. You're taking away old parts that don't work right anymore. They're not working for you anymore. They quit working or they're not doing the right thing. You take those parts out, and that would be your mindset, your habit, your routine, or whatever that's hurting you, and you replace it with a better part, a better routine, a better mindset, a better habit. And that is when you start to see, the whole thing run better as a whole. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you being told that something's got to change. There's something wrong with you sitting back and saying, okay, maybe I should think about this. And there's nothing wrong with you deciding that that's accurate and to make the change and start doing things differently and seeing that, it does work. So the things, especially from a therapist or a coach or anyone like that who cares about you and is there to help you and help you get better and do better, those people care. And after you paying thousands of dollars, especially to a coach, like I say, that person isn't there to hurt your feelings or make you feel bad or make you feel worse about your situation. They're there to guide you to a better way of doing things. But you can't do better until you see what you're doing wrong that's stopping you. You see what I mean? So it's like you have to do the work, before things get easier. So just keep that in mind, that stuff is not said to hurt y'all's feelings or, make you think you can't or whatever, because that's not it. You can. And they know you can. So, because if it wasn't meant for you to do better or get better or make progress or transform at all, you wouldn't even be seeking out the help. Like if it wasn't meant for you to change, you would just be sitting there, in your own shit, just like chilling, not thinking about anything and not trying to do anything. But instead, you've made the choice to seek out help in whatever way that is, and you're actively, trying to make the moves to do better. So it is meant for you to hear the things that are being told to you so that you can look at yourself and say, okay, this is accurate. I need to think about this. All of that is meant to be, because if it wasn't meant to be, and if it didn't matter, you would have even tried to get help to start with. You see what I mean? So don't shoot yourself in the foot by stopping your own progress or getting in your own way when you've come so far as to just pay for the help, and then they tell you stuff and then you don't want to go along with it. Don't do that to yourself, because you've already paid for that anyway. Like, you may as well, take advantage of it. You see what I mean? Be ready to be different from how you've been so far. So like I say, we are here to help you change your ways, and of course this doesn't mean coaches are perfect or whatever. That's not, we all make mistakes. We all do things we shouldn't be doing. And we all, have habits here and there that maybe aren't great. No one can set a perfect example, but if you get somebody who really knows what the hell they're doing in a topic that you need help with, somebody who has had more experience, who, has had more time with something like that, who has had more of a healing journey, and has learned more, then that person, could be considered an expert and is in a position to help you. So if they tell you what you need to start doing differently, you have to be ready to accept that and say, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to do something different, and just retrain your brain. And that, a lot of that will go back to, the neural pathways and things like that your brain is so accustomed to doing, and things that your nervous system is so used to. But you can undo all of that. You have to stick with it. It's like any other habit. You have to stay with it, care enough about it, and care enough about your progress and your transformation to make it happen, and just stick with it. And every time you're presented with the opportunity to either do it or not do it and stay the same, you have to ask yourself, how bad do you want that outcome? How bad do you want the transformation? Do you want it? It's yes or no. It's going to be yes or no. So that will show you how mature you are. It will show you how determined you are, and all the rest of it. So you have to be ready to really do things differently. You cannot tell yourself the same old story. I only had a couple of girls who really stuck by their guns with their story. I only had a couple. Most of them did okay. Had a few hiccups here and there, but eventually by the end of it, most of my girls do really well with growth and maturity and self-exploration, things like that, because they're ready for the help, which is why they hire me to start with. I've only had 2 girls I can think of off the top of my head who just really dug their heels in and didn't want to change. And I thought, well, the whole point of finding out why the narcissist is so obsessed with you to start with is because there's something about you that draws them in, that they're attracted to. There's something about you that's familiar or seems easy for them or something. And you keep complaining that you keep having these people coming in and out of your life, and you've had so many of these, and there's so many people like this that have done you wrong, blah, blah. There's something about you that's pulling them in. We have to look at that. We have to look at that. So you can't sit there and say, well, this keeps happening, blah, blah, but I'm not going to change my life. Like I'm perfect. They need to change, blah, blah, because they're not going to. They're not going to change. But you have the potential to change, because number one, you're not a narcissist, but you have come so far as to hire a coach to help you seek it out, seek out a solution. So there's no use in coming that far and be like, no, I'm not going to, well, then why are you here? I mean, don't waste your money. If you're going to pay somebody what you're paying them, if you're going to pay me, $2,500 to do 12 weeks or whatever with me, then make use of your money. Make it worth it. Make it worth your while, because you've committed. You know what I mean? There's some part of you somewhere that wanted the transformation. Otherwise, you would have never sought me out and signed up with me anyway. So there's some part of you that does want it. And the part of you that is resisting it needs to have a conversation with the part of you that is wanting it, because those two parts of you are going to collide until they integrate, and they need to have a talk. So it's important to accept that you are going to be a different, better, higher-minded version of you once you're done with the 12 weeks. You have to accept that in the beginning, that the person you are in the beginning and the person you are at the end are not going to be the same, and they're not going to recognize each other, and they're not going to know each other. When I did the post a few days ago, when I did my February challenge for everybody, and that was to post a picture of yourself. You can do it on your page, or if you just want to comment on mine, it's fine. Either way. And if you want to tag me, you can. But you post a picture or a video of yourself from a time in your life that was not good. And you talk to that version of you in that photograph or that video, and you talk very lovingly and compassionately to that version of you in that photograph, and you say all the things that version of you needed to hear. When I did my video, I cried, because I hadn't thought of this yet. not at the depth at which I did the night that I made the video. And that night when I made that video, I put it on TikTok first, and then I uploaded it to Facebook and YouTube because it was important, and it's important to think about, and I wanted people to know. And it was a picture of me in a certain someone's truck that took me years to quit worrying about seeing everywhere I went, because every time I saw a black Toyota Tundra, I just like felt my heart race. And it took a long time. I felt bad about that. I felt that way about that until I moved away from Virginia Beach and went 1,000 miles away to Pell City, Alabama. Now I'm fine. Once I got away from it physically, I've been okay since I've been here. Now when I see a black pickup truck, you just kind of chuckle and like look the other way, like I don't care anymore. You know, it's not the same. It doesn't have the stranglehold on me that it did. But I looked at myself in that picture from when I was in his truck. And then I even noticed something else. I noticed, number one, I was wearing his sunglasses. I don't know why I had my own fucking sunglasses, but I was wearing his, and I was looking in his direction when I took the picture, you know, like this way. And I realized that his reflection was in the sunglasses. And I looked at it for a little bit, and I was like, you know what? But I didn't have the sick feeling in my stomach that I used to have about it. You know what I mean? So that definitely went away, and it feels good. You know, even though I've felt good about it for a long time, it still feels good to look at it and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm over it. I'm past it. I finally got all that figured out. Well, it took forever because I did all that shit on my own. And, yeah, I did all that alone. And, but it feels good to look at that and say, you know what, I don't feel nauseated or scared, and I don't feel my heart race whenever I see like hints of him in photographs or anything like that. Because there's not any pictures of me and him. Like, I deleted all that shit, but it's just nice to look at that and just be like, you know, I'm done with it. So, but like I say, you know, you have to be ready to be different from who you are now, you know, compared to who you could be. And that's why when I did that, that challenge for everybody, and I said, you know, talk compassionately to that old version of you, because that version of you deserves it. It deserves to be told, you know, you were doing your best from your level at that time. It's okay, and I forgive you for messing up. You didn't know. Just like you would say that to anybody else that like got themselves into a shitty situation and they're like, oh shit, you know, because they didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming. You didn't see the abuse coming. What the hell? Because they hide that shit. And they pounce it on you. So you couldn't have, you missed it. You just didn't see it. They bamboozled you. You were hoodwinked. You got hoodwinked. We all did. So go back and talk to that version of you and just say, you know what? It's all right. That's why in my video I was, you know, weeping, because I thought about that girl. I thought about her. And when I looked at that picture of me, and when I look at older pictures of me like that, I think, you know what? I don't even recognize her. I don't even recognize, I mean, I know it's me, but you know what I mean? Like, I look at it and I'm like, you know what, I'm not that person anymore. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel lost. You know, I don't feel empty. I don't feel confused. Or any of those things. And it feels good to have come as far as I've come. It feels good. And I have to, you know, just pat myself, because like, it was hard. But when I looked at that video and I started talking, and I said, you know, I just want to give a shout out to this girl, because she went through some shit and she didn't deserve it, and she tore herself up over things that she shouldn't have and didn't have to. And I'm just here to say, you know, it wasn't your fault. And I just went on like that. You know, it was a good video. It was only like 3 minutes long, I think, but it was a good ass video. And it felt good to say it, and it felt good to get that out, and it felt good to acknowledge it. And I thought it would be a good idea to like, lead other people to do the same thing. Like, if y'all feel like doing this challenge with me, let's do it, because it it's good. It's good to look at an old picture of you and think to yourself, you know what, I've come a long way. It feels good to do that now and then. I think now and then it's healthy to do that for yourself, to look at yourself and celebrate your milestones and celebrate your growth and your progress and your maturity and things like that, because you do learn over the years and you do come to realizations and say to yourself, I remember back when I didn't know any better and blah, 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 but, I'm better now. But show some compassion to that person. What if the multidimensional thing is right, and like that version of you is still bebopping around somewhere, struggling? Speak out to that person. Just say, you know what, you're doing. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. So, but like I say, you do 12 weeks with me or any other coach, you're not going to recognize who you are by the end of it, because you go through so much and you focus on so many things and you explore so much about yourself that you haven't given yourself a chance to explore yet. All you need is the right guidance. You just need the right leader to like walk you through it. But once you find somebody you vibe with and you hire them, and all of a sudden you get in the one-on-one time, that's a game changer, because you're getting somebody who's listening and can pick out things from what you say and shit, and listen to your stories and pick out things and say, okay, this is what you need to look at, try this. And it's really helpful to get somebody who can just walk you through it. So like I say, bottom line for that point is be ready to be different, a different person, and to not recognize yourself, because transformation is powerful and life-changing, and it's worth it. Next point would be ready to jump into the unknown. So like I say, when you hire someone to help you explore yourself, you're dissecting parts of yourself that you have not given yourself a chance to dissect yet. And you're looking at parts of yourself that have just been overlooked, either through forgetting about it, or not realizing it was there, or not having the option to take care of yourself, or what have you, whatever your situation was. And this is a time, when you hire a coach, this is a time to really look at the things that you just haven't looked at yet. And you're going to see parts of yourself that have been ignored and neglected for whatever reason. And all those parts have to integrate and come together and agree on what your next move is going to be. They all have to be in agreement on it, or it's not going to feel right. So these parts of you have to have a conversation and say, okay, what does each thing need? Usually all the parts of you pretty much want the same thing. The neglected parts of you want safety. The parts of you that are feeling good also would want safety. For example, it's just like, that's a natural thing. And it just is an example. But the parts of you that are resisting it and are trying to do like hurtful things to you that you don't realize are hurtful, that are supposedly keeping you safe, because let's say you've got a habit where you get yourself in the same kind of dangerous environment because it's familiar to you, but because it's familiar to you, it feels safe. A lot of people do that, like you get yourself around shitty ass people, and there's a part of you that knows they're shitty, but the other part of you's like, nah, but this is what we know. And so many people do that. And you don't realize that you're self-sabotaging. You're not really sabotaging yourself. You're not intentionally trying to sabotage yourself. It's just that you're going with what you know. And that's not, that couldn't, your mind doesn't see that as sabotage, because it's trying to do what it knows. It's trying to keep to a routine, because that's predictable, and that feels safer, the predictability. But that part of you needs to come into alignment with the part of you that doesn't want to do that anymore, and wants to go about it in a better, higher-minded, more enlightened way. And that would be to not put yourself around people that are dangerous for you, etc. So those two parts of you have to come into an agreement somewhere or another. for example. So jumping into the unknown, that's scary because nobody knows what's there. You think you know yourself. Everybody thinks they know themselves. Yeah, man, I know myself. So, like, fuck that. I don't have time for that. You know, okay. Like, you'll hear a lot of that, but people don't fucking know themselves. They think they do because they're uppity and they're full of it, and they're so afraid of what they don't know about themselves that they just block it out completely and pretend, otherwise. They don't know shit about themselves. Why do you think there's so many people taking Xanax and shit like that to get through the fucking day? Oh, I don't know why I'm so miserable. I don't know. Maybe it's because you had such a damn traumatic childhood and you don't want to talk about, oh no, I'm over that. Oh, really? Because you're 40 and you're still upset about something. Well, because so-and-so did such and such the other day. Oh, really? What that remind you of? Well, it reminded me about this time in 1990 when my mom, blah, blah. Okay, so you're not over it. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to pick on anybody. It's just I made that whole thing up. I'm not. That wasn't anyone's story, but I'm I'm improvising. But what I'm trying to say is, people think they know why they do shit. You have no idea why you do shit. You have no idea why you do, because you haven't explored yourself yet. You have to dive into the unknown and look at that shit. And the unknown is the shit you've been ignoring. You've been ignoring it because you're afraid of it, and you're afraid of it because it hurts when you look at it. And it hurts when you look at it because you know you were done wrong. And you were done wrong because some son of a bitch didn't know what they were doing. And they didn't know what they were doing because somebody did them wrong, and then just fucking the cycle went back like that through the generations, and nobody's fucking paying attention to it and thinks enough of anybody to rectify it. But here you are, carrying all their shit on your shoulders, and you've got the choice now in this day and age to either continue with a pill that's going to make you forget why you're upset, or hire a therapist or a coach or somebody who can help you deep dive into that and get through it. But going into the unknown, that's what the pills are for, is to keep you from going into shit, to figure it out. Also, the excuse was, when they first came out with that stuff, oh, this is just temporary. You're not really supposed to be on this stuff forever. This is just while you're in therapy. And then once you get it all figured out, you put the pills away and just go back to life. Well, no one's doing that. No one's doing that. I've been a pharmacy tech. No one's doing that. They start the Xanax and then, damn it, they take it forever. There's old people taking Xanax because they can't get over what the fuck happened. Because people are doing that instead of going to therapy. They used to do both, and now it's to the point where they won't go to a fucking therapist anymore. They just want the Xanax. I know, because it's one of the number one down top drugs that goes out the door every day. Like, I know. I've counted more fucking Xanax than I have anything else in my fucking life. It's not a joke. That shit's, it's just, it's being dealt out like fucking candy. So, and I don't mean to, bash anybody that is taking it. It's not that. It's just that it's not meant for you to take it forever, and it's pulling you away from learning about yourself, because people are taking that instead of just going to therapy or getting a coach. Because they used to do both, and now they're not even doing that. No one wants to fuck with therapy anymore. Like, I don't even know how therapists are still making money. No, because no one will fucking go. There are so many people that should be everybody should probably be in there for something, really, because we're all humans and we all have something we're struggling with. So I don't think anybody would be exempt from that. But there's a lot of people that should be getting help, and they're not. Because they're too afraid, or they're too afraid of it, and they're too afraid of doing the deep dive, which in turn, for a lot of people, especially if they're egotistical, turns into them thinking, or at least telling themselves or convincing themselves that there's nothing wrong with them, really, and it's just the rest of the world that's fucked up, and, la fucking da. And and that's not necessarily how that works, but that's what people think, because they're so afraid of just looking within. And you can't be afraid of that. You don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to be afraid of it. There's nothing to fear. It's just, you're just going to figure shit out. People don't act like that with other stuff. They don't act like that when they're studying a subject they've never studied before. Oh, I'm afraid of this. Well, why? Because I've never done it before. Okay. Well, so no one says that. So, and I mean, we're talking about yourself, but I think there's a part of you that knows that your true self goes on forever into eternity, and you, there's no end to you. There's no end. You go on forever, just like the universe does. That being the case, I can see that, you know, the feeling of being intimidated would be there when it comes time to, you know, look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, you know, I need to figure this out. I've done that. I have done that. But it's that, or you just stay oblivious and you stay stuck, you know. It's one or the other. And just like everything else I get on here and talk about, whether or not you make the change depends on how bad you want to make the change. I mean, it depends on how bad you want to do better and how bad you want to reach your goal, which is whatever you want it to be. You want to build muscle, you want to be healthier, you want to know something, a certain topic, you want to go back to school, you want to, whatever, get the car fixed. Any goal that you have is going to take a little bit of work some way or another to get there. You're not going to be able to predict everything along the way, but the fact that you take a step each day towards that goal matters, and it'll get a little bit easier as you go. You'll get your bearings, you'll see that it's not so bad after all, you know, and you'll get there. And people, you know, they let fear get in their way. Like, they let it get in their way, and they get in their own way with that. Oh, I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Yourself? Why are you afraid of yourself? You know, I used to be afraid too, because like when I started doing damn astral projection, I was scared to death. But then I was like, oh fuck it, you know, this is the real me, you know, I'm just gonna do it. It's like, so now I don't care, you know. But I mean, I've been scared too. I'm not sitting here talking like I'm some kind of guru that's never had a problem, you know. I'm not doing that. I'm never gonna do that. But I just mean, you know, you just got to look at yourself and say, how bad do I want to get better? What's it going to take? I got to know myself. All right, so be it. You know, bring it on. Let's go. And it's that or nothing. Some shit in life is going to have to be all or nothing. Some shit is going to have to be that way. And the end point is that you have to know deep down, and you have to let yourself understand that deep down it's worth it, because you're worth it. You are worth the self-exploration and the untangling of the shit, you know, to figure it out and get to the bottom of you. You're worth that. How could you not be? Yeah. If you can figure you out, I've said this before, but if you can figure you out, you don't have to worry about figuring out anybody the fuck else. Because people will always say, oh, I don't know why so-and-so did that. Why did so-and-so do that to me? Why did so-and-so do that? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? And you're always trying to like figure out that person. What's their problem? What's their problem? I don't know. Forget about them. Forget about them. Let's look at you. Figure yourself out, and you'll never have to worry about another motherfucker ever again. You don't understand them? All right, you fuck it, whatever, I don't care. I know me. I know what I'm about. I know my shit. And that's it. It's like, I know. You don't have to figure everybody else out. But you do need to know you. And there's one way to do it. You gotta do the deep dive. You just gotta do it. So, you know, that a lot of people would call what I just did tough love. I have a bad relationship with that concept. I have a bad I don't like the tough love thing. I've had mostly I've had boyfriends do that with me. Well, I just gotta show you some fucking tough love because you can't fucking learn. Well, I'm just gonna show you some tough love, and someone who is extremely independent, someone who's hyper independent and also highly intelligent is not going to respond well to that. I'm not trying to talk down about anybody that doesn't fit in the category I just said, But I'm telling you, people who are highly independent and highly intelligent will not respond well to a tough love approach from anybody. Especially somebody who's going to say that and then just get between their legs. Because I've had that. Well, you just don't know, Miranda. You know, bless your heart. You're so fucking stupid, and you poor thing. You don't know any better. Okay, drop trowel. You know, like I've been there, because that's usually who will say it to you, because they're so comfortable. They get so comfortable. So, I have a bad relationship with tough love, if you will. I don't respond with. I'm also a Taurus on top of all of that, so I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole because I don't know how to listen, so I'm a bitch. I'm heartless. I'm fucking cold, like, because I don't know how to listen, and just kill me and save the world now, and just do everyone a favor and just kill me now, because I don't know how to listen. Men can't fucking stand me. They can't stand me. I'm worse now than I ever have been. Like, I just don't listen to them because I don't want to feel like shit anymore. But they can't stand me because I don't do what they want. So yeah, I'm a bitch. I just do what I want with my life, and it feels great. So, back to the list. I'm sorry. I know I get off with story time. I'm just sorry. Okay, so the unknown. Next is be ready to hear that you're wrong about something. Okay. People don't like being told that they are wrong. People can't stand that. So, different people don't like being wrong for different reasons. Some people don't like it because it's just their ego, because they just don't want to be wrong, because it means they don't know something. Other people don't want to be wrong because, especially applies to women, they don't like being wrong because if they're wrong, it means they've made a mistake. And if they've made a mistake, that means the group of people that they are taking care of are going to suffer from that mistake. The woman of the household, there's not a lot of room for error there. And because she's responsible for everybody's survival. And if she screws up, everyone in the group pays for that. Or so that's what's going on in here. It's like an unspoken thing that so that being the case, a lot of women are argumentative because they know that if they make a mistake, too many people will suffer because they're in charge of everybody. And there's nothing I could do about that. We've been that way for 500,000 years. It's not going to change. So, but either way, whatever the reason behind it is, the fear of being wrong. And like I say, I had one client who really gave me a hard time with it. One client, she thought she knew everything about the person she had been struggling with. And I said, well, look, why don't you look at it this way? To bring yourself some relief, and that way you don't have to be angry about it so much. Instead, look at it like this, blah, 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 blah. And I laid out some other, viewpoint or something. And she just didn't want to hear it. And she was like, no, it's not that, it's this. Blah, blah, blah. I know this woman, blah, 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 blah. It's this. All right. She was still angry. It's like, you got to be open to different ways of looking at it. Because you have to bring yourself some relief. If you're still wasting that much energy on being angry about somebody who did you wrong 20 years ago, 30 years ago, especially if they're out of your life now, there's no damn use in holding on to that anger. You have to get a better way of looking at it so that you can just give yourself a break. Just give yourself a break. Why, what is being that angry and feeling that kind of revenge towards somebody, especially someone who's not in your life anymore? What is that doing for your quality of life? What is that doing for you? If it's not making your life better, then why are you pouring that much energy and strength into that? So, and it's not so much, and that's not even so much about being wrong. It's not that you're wrong about it, but it's just that, you're still in your hurt. You're still coming from a place of pain. You're still operating from a place of pain, but that can't, if you're in anger mode or in defense mode 24/7, first of all, it's going to exhaust you, and it's going to distract you from things that you could be enjoying. And that's going to hurt your life in so many different ways. Just like being obsessed over what one person did to you and how they're, either not paying the price or whatever. And whether you're wrong about how you're doing it or not, just the fact that you don't want to change, because what you're doing is hurting you, and you don't want to admit that it's hurting you, that's wrong. It's wrong to do that to yourself anyway, but it's the wrong way to go because it's hurting you, and it's not helping your quality of life. So I've had a couple of struggles with that with some clients, but not real bad. There was one girl that put me to work with it, but it happens. But I mean, most of them are a little bit worried about it, and then I've got some that just really are open to it and are open to everything I've said and have gone so far and grown in leaps and bounds. And it's like, I'm speechless as to how amazing it is to see that. Really, it's great. So you don't have to worry about it, but you have to drop all the preconceived notions or whatever about yourself. Drop all the ideas about yourself, the filters and things that you use in your life to filter out information about yourself and about your world. All of that has to drop away, because this needs to be an open highway. You know what I mean? And being wrong about something, or the fear of being wrong about something, or the fear of maybe you've been doing something the wrong way, or you've been misinformed, or you had the wrong idea about something, or the wrong method, or whatever, and it's bad for you, and you don't want to admit to that because that means you're doing something wrong. You see what I mean? Like, you can't just drop that. You just have to drop it. Drop it like luggage, like heavy luggage. Just drop it. Because all those, like I say, all those walls, all those filters and everything, all that's got to come down so that we can just look at it for what it is. That's the only way. That's why, I said filter, like, let's take Snapchat filters, for example, and the way you see somebody always take a picture with some kind of filter on it, look, so I'm just going to use this and let this represent me, but it's not the real you. Once you take one picture without it, just let everybody see your real face. Like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with your face? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. But the fact that you're wanting to have a facade means you're not ready to dig in and see the real you. You know what I mean? There was this documentary one time about, it's somewhere on YouTube. I think it's a BBC documentary, but I can't remember. But it was this lady that wore makeup 24/7 no matter what. And her skin was in horrible shape. But what I mean is, she didn't want to deal with the real her. So she always, hid her face under all that makeup. And I was like, you don't have to do that. It's okay to see the bare you. It's okay to see the real you. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? So they, that fear of not liking what you see or being wrong about something, you got to let all that go. You have to really, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage. But you just, how much longer are you going to wait? How much longer do you want to wait to figure yourself out so that your life can get better? So, not being afraid of hearing something you don't want to hear, that's a real sign of maturity, to just like take the leap and say, okay, just give it to me. You know what I mean? Next on the list, be ready to evolve. So I kind of went over that with another point, but just to, like I say, just to be a different person from who you were when you started. Because like I say, in 12 weeks with me, or I imagine with most coaches, if they know what they're doing, you're going to be phenomenal by the end of it, and if not, if you need to extend another 12 weeks, and some people do, So what? Another 12 weeks, another more deep dive. I mean, you're endless, like the universe, like the ocean. You just go on forever. So it's like really there's no end to exploring you. So you could always be evolving, and you always are evolving, even whether you realize it or not. But being ready to evolve and morph, into your next level, is important, because if you're ready for it and you're open to it, you can take full advantage of it, and to just drop the fear, because there's something, like I said, there's something to be afraid of. You're just learning about you. You're figuring yourself out. You don't have to be afraid. Yeah, there's parts of you that might scare you, and I don't think it's the parts of you that that's what you're afraid of, is different parts of you. I think what people are afraid of is how those different parts feel, and they're afraid of that. Like when people don't want to talk about bad things that happen to them in their early life or whatever. Oh no, I'm past that now. I'm over that. Blah blah whatever. But they're still drinking like a fish. You see what I mean? They're not afraid of the memory itself or whatever. It's not that. It's how that version of them, that child on the inside, feels. It's how that inner child feels. That's what's scary. Because it's such a bad feeling, and it's so overwhelming. And that is terrifying. Yeah, it's overwhelming, because it hurts like hell, because it was awful, and nobody thought enough of you to fucking rectify it. Yes, that's awful, and yes, it's terrifying. I'll never invalidate that. I mean, the way you're feeling is right. You're right, but the volumes of people who bypass that, especially people these days that are using the what I learned recently called spiritual bypassing, where they try to do like a Zen Buddhist thing and just let it all go, or release it to the ethers or whatever, and and they don't work it out, they don't deal with it, they don't explore it, they don't get help, whatever. No one helps them. No one tries to have a conversation with them to explore it or whatever. It's like it just never gets resolved. And then years go by and they act all nonchalant about it, like it's just part of life. And yeah, well, I'm over that now, it's whatever. And then, but like I say, and then you'll see them do habits and it's like, damn, you're covering that. You're just eating it away, like you're eating instead of dealing with it, or whatever it is they do. Smoke, chew, whatever. We went to, I don't know if you can see that blue spot on my hand. Yeah. I tried to go to the Loomis circus thing earlier in Odenville, and it was so cold and raining outside that I just said, screw it, let's just go home. So the girls at the front said that I could get a refund. It was cheap to get in. I don't necessarily need the refund. I was just going to have it advanced to the next show or whatever, but they said it would just be a refund. So I emailed the people and they refunded it back to me. So, but anyway, that was earlier today. They stamped me for that thing for the circus. My son had either never gotten that before, or it had been a long time. He was like, what is this? What is this? And I said, Joe, it's just a stamp. It just means we're here. So anyway, yeah, that was a bust. But I also didn't know it was going to be raining, and I didn't know it was going to be outside. The pictures on the website, it looks like it's indoors. And I was like, oh shit, let's go. So I was wrong. But anyway, so yeah, evolving. What was I talking about? Deep dive. Oh yeah, spiritual bypassing. Okay, no, I got it. So like I say, there's people who will say that they are, well versed in one spiritual path or another, and since they're so well versed in it, they've learned how to just totally let go of the anger of whatever happened. But I've run into people like that and asked them questions just out of curiosity, and then like some conversation will ensue, and then I realize they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't consider myself an expert in any one topic either. I'm rather a Jane of all trades myself, but I mean, I've had people who couldn't explain their spiritual beliefs to me. Like, if you're so, then why can't you tell me what this is? Why can't you tell me what esoteric Buddhism is? Like, I don't know. I know that I don't know what it is. Like, I don't fucking know. But you can't tell me? You can't break, you don't have to dumb it down too much. Like, I read a lot of books. Like, I can keep up with you. Just like, but what is it? And there's so many people who claim to have like a path like that or whatever. I don't like it because, like, I think real Buddhists, like especially the ones out there, would be kind of offended to see the people who claim that path and, like, number one, don't do any of that shit or can't do it, or choose not to, what have you, but also are claiming that and are doing something opposite. I don't know. It's just like, I don't like the Buddha that Buddhism is based on or whatever. He claimed that he went inside his mind, like into the deepest, darkest crevices, and confronted like the source of all evil, which I think he called Mara. And it was like a version of him or whatever, but it wasn't anything outside of himself. It was all, originated from, the depths of his own mind or whatever. So like he conquered it or whatever, and then that was it. And then there was just peace afterwards. I think I have the story right. But my point is, a lot of people who claim that have never done that. So, I see a lot of that. Not so much with my clients per se. I don't really attract people like that. So I haven't dealt with that from actual people who I've worked with, but I've known people over the years, like through friends or whatever, who would say, would say shit. And I just think, if you got around real Buddhists, like, from China or from Tibet or from Japan or what have you, or from India, I don't know, you wouldn't last 5 minutes because you, I don't want to be a bitch. It's like, I don't want to do that. But there's a lot of that. People who think that they're real high-minded and really they're just ignoring it. So I did it. I did that for years. I never claimed Buddhist. I don't know enough about them to, I know bits and pieces here and there, but I don't know enough about them to claim that. And I don't have the nerve to insult them by claiming to be part of their tribe or whatever when I don't know shit about it. Do you see what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem right. Like, I can't do that. That doesn't make any sense. That'd be like saying I was from, Mongolia or something when I'm not. It's like, I'm obviously not. So, like, you know what I mean? But anyway, so evolving. Okay, yeah. You got to really evolve, not just pretend. Okay, and then finally, the last point of this video. The last thing on my list that you need to be ready for in transformation and making progress with me or with any coach or therapist or whoever. Be ready to be powerful. This is a lot more than what people think it is, because most people aren't used to being powerful, because that's not the kind of world we live in. We live in a world where the super oligarchy at the top make all the rules and punish anybody who fights back and questions them. And we live in a world where we get our ass beat if we stand up to Big Brother. So this isn't the kind of world where people or individuals are used to being powerful in any way whatsoever, intellectually, spiritually, whatever, except for like people that are physically powerful, because that's not as intimidating to the government, Yeah. That's why even when I was in the Army, they said, we don't care, we don't want you to be smart, we just want you to be dumb and strong, so you'll do what we say and you can do anything, and you can follow fucking orders and you can lift heavy shit. And I just thought, okay, That's this isn't gonna work in the long run. I can see that now. I'm like, I got out. But I saw that wasn't, we weren't gonna agree. So I didn't stick around for that. If you want to know more about that, I did upload a video. God, I guess it was a couple of years ago now. If you go all the way down to like the bottom of my videos, it's called My Time in the Army. I think that's what I called it. And I was outside of the park filming when I did that video. So if you want to learn about that, you can. And in that video, I said everything that I could remember. And as I talked, I remembered more, but in that video, it pretty much documents everything that I can remember. And I got it all in one video, and like that was the end of it. But and since then, I don't mention it much because I put it all in that one thing. But anyway, so be ready to be powerful. Okay, so what this means is you have to be ready to, because when you're powerful, what that means is you put your foot down, you have standards. A lot of people are afraid of having standards because they're afraid of leaving somebody out or seeming like they're too stuck up or uppity or full of themselves or whatever. Oh, well, so-and-so's not going to allow for that. You know how they are. They got to have things a certain way, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that person probably has standards. You may not have known what their life was like 10 or 20 years ago. They probably let everybody walk all over them. They got pissed off at one point and finally decided, okay, never again. Now I've got standards. And now everybody thinks they're a bitch because they won't let anybody fucking use them. So keep that in mind when people say that about somebody, because it helps to get the full story before you make a decision as to, whether or not that person's really being a bitch or they're just trying to protect themselves. But when you're powerful, you do things like that. And there's a lot of people that won't like that because they can't use you. Especially with the narcissist. Like I say, the narcissist is there because there's something about you that makes it easy for them to use you and take advantage of you. There's something about you that makes it easy. You're probably real giving, you're probably real kind, you're probably real open-minded or trying to be open-minded, or you're working on that and they're a good practice, or whatever. And but whatever it is, or you're used to abuse from your upbringing or what have you. So when partners come into your life and they do the same shit your caretakers did, you don't tell them to get the hell out because you're accustomed to that behavior, shitty as it may be. That's what you're used to. So you'll take it because it's familiar. You see what I mean? Like I said earlier. So there's something about you that the narcissist is like, this bitch is mine, and it's like a fucking, a county fair for them because they're just having a good old time because, they're getting whatever they want from you. Attention, money, the chance to be in control, especially if you're giving and laid back and stuff like that. They're going to eat that up. So, when you're powerful, you reclaim all of yourself that you've been giving out to other people. You pull all that back in. Well, I'm not going to destroy that part of me anymore. You're not going to destroy the empathic or the giving or the loving or the generous or the charitable part of me anymore. You're not going to have that part of me. I'm going to call it back. And I'm going to cut off that supply. And the narcissist is going to have a fucking Hall of Fame hissy fit because they're no longer in control. You took back the power. It can only be one or the other. You know what I mean? And it's going to have to be you. And that means you're going to have to do things that you're probably not used to, like put your fucking foot down, and shit like that. Or do things like what I've had to do, like be sneaky, like hide your own money, hide documents that you're going to need, especially when you go to court or whatever, for them, with them, against them, whatever. Tell people what's going on and tell them to keep their mouth shut. People you can trust. Plan your escape from the narcissist, like if you're living together and the situation is to where you're able to get up and get out. You just got to do it in a sneaky way to catch them off guard. Things like that. You'll have to do weird things you've never done before in order to get that power back. But I'm the kind of person that sort of believes in the ends justify the means. If you gotta do it, you gotta fucking do it. Because this is what you need in the end. So let's just do it. And get it over with. And then you'll get there, and then it'll be all said and done, and it'll just be a thing of the past. For real. I had to. Nobody fucking helped me. So, I mean, some shit you just gotta do. But that is you taking back your power. And then after that, and then there's a lot of people who get out of narcissistic relationships, and they get that person out of their life completely. And then let's say you're living by yourself. Let's say you're used to that person pushing you around, telling you what to do. You're not allowed to do anything. The person's making all the decisions for you, taking all your money. You don't get to spend any of it, blah, blah, whatever. You're not in control. Then they go. You get them out. They go to jail or whatever. Y'all split, whatever it is. You live alone now. Or at least without them. Now you're in control of your own life. You're in control of your own money. You're in control of your own schedule. You don't have to do what somebody else is telling you to do. You're in control of your own body. It belongs to you now. Isn't that nice? You can drive your car wherever you want. You don't have to worry about being followed or being told you can't go or whatever. Shit like that. Now you're used to having power. You know what I mean? A lot of people aren't used to that. There's a lot of people that live a certain way with the narcissist where they don't have those decisions. And then the person gets out of their life and they're like, well, shit, what do I do with myself? I've never had this much control before. Or somebody that just moves out of their parents' house finally, like if they're older or something, and then they finally get their first place when they're like 30 or whatever. And they don't know what to do with themselves because they've always, been under mom and dad's thumb. And shit like that. But being powerful, like I said in the beginning, it also can mean getting ridiculed for things like having standards and self-respect and having boundaries and knowing when something is enough. And people say this a lot, but like, for example, cats let you touch them of their own accord. It's when they're ready, on their terms. When the cat is done with you petting her, she'll say, okay, fuck you, and she'll walk away, and then that's it. The interaction's over with after that. Because if you get up and chase her, what's she gonna do? Run. She's done. That's it. It's done. And then later on, when she's ready for you to pet her again, she'll come back. The dog doesn't have that. The dog's different. He's like, oh yes, just touch me however, whenever, unless he's in pain or something. But typically, we know dogs are more welcoming for any kind of pet. You know what I mean? And cats are like, no, I gotta. So they're just different like that. But cats are a good lesson in boundaries because damn it, they'll let you know. And they don't. And in the United States anyway, having them declawed is now illegal. So, all our grandmothers' cats in the 80s and 90s, we were used to them not having claws, and it's not like that now. So you really can't fuck with them now because they'll take your eye out. But being powerful, there's a lot that comes with that, and there can be a lot of hatred that comes with it too, because there's going to be people that hate you because there's going to be people who think that they can't do what you're doing, which is running your own life, because you have power now. You got away from the narcissist. You've got your own place. Let's say, for example, you got your own car. You got your own money now. You got your own time. You got a job at a place that you want instead of where they wanted you to work, or whatever the situation was. It's different now because now you're in control of your life. Okay. So you've come a long way. You're starting to feel better about yourself. You're saving your money. You're fixing your credit score. You've bought all new furniture for yourself because they took everything or whatever. So now you've got all this control now, and you can make all these decisions about how your apartment's going to look, whether or not you can have a dog. Where you're going to go on your off day, where you're going to drive to, you can do whatever you want because no one's telling you can't. there's going to be people who aren't there yet who are going to hate you because you got there and they haven't yet. And the whole reason they haven't gotten there yet where you are is because they haven't made the damn move yet. There's little moves you can make. I'm going to do a video about this too because it's important. But there's little moves you can make every day to slowly disconnect yourself from the narcissist. If it's going to be a slow, difficult process, like y'all have been married 12 years, you got 3 children, the house is in both your names, whatever, and you're real sunk in like that, you can still get away. You can still get divorced and have peace and have your own house and everything else and have the children too. That's possible. There's other people that have done it. So don't ever think, oh, well, it's out of my league or whatever. It's not. But to help yourself out, you can do one little move every day to work towards that goal. I don't care if it's putting $1 in a secret lockbox you've got somewhere. I don't care if it's scanning a document and putting it away somewhere that's going to help you in court. I don't care if it's making a phone call to touch base with somebody to tell them what your plan is, or to ask them if they might be able to help you in the last minute if you have an emergency and need to get out in the middle of the night, or whatever, if you're in danger and you need a ride, or whatever the situation is. You can constantly, every day, if not every day, I'd say at least once a week. Make one little move towards your freedom. And that is a bigger way of taking your power back than you would ever imagine, because it's going to build up. So long as you stick with it, it's going to build up over time. And you're going to be powerful. And then one day you're going to look at yourself and you're going to be like, you know what? Now I see why the narcissist was so mean to me. They saw my power inside of me, and they were afraid that if I ever saw it, I'd get away. And look, that's what's happened. I saw it and I got away. I built on it. I used it. I used my power. So you have to be ready for that rush, that feeling by the end of it. You have to be ready for that good feeling, because a lot of people aren't ready for that good feeling because they're not used to it. And like I say, once you get to that point where you're living so well and you're doing well and you got your own money, you got your own car, you got your own place, you got the children, you got the dog too, or whatever. You win. You won the situation. That you won in court. You won. And there's going to be people, the narcissists, their family members, and their friends and whatever, and even people who didn't know you before, or didn't have anything to do with a narcissist, who were just like watching you from afar, maybe an acquaintance at work or somebody who has watched you like get better over time, and then all of a sudden you're doing better than everybody that you know. And there's going to be people that hate you for that shit because you're doing so well. It's called jealousy. And that comes with having power. And that part's shitty because you're going to have a lot of people that are backstabbing, lying, coming up with shit to try to drag your name through the mud and whatever. And then they'll come up with all kinds of weird shit. Don't even worry about it. Don't even stress yourself about it, because they're going to come up with weird shit. And you just have to shrug and look the other way and just say, to hell with you. Just dig your own grave. I don't care. And you just keep doing what you're doing, because your power lies in your sincerity and your word and your integrity and your ability to do what you say you're going to do, and to be reliable for yourself and reliable for the people who need you, like your children or your relatives, your friends, whatever, your boss, whoever's important to you, right? And there's always going to be somebody that hates you for doing good. So with all that power, be ready for it, because there's going to be people who are going to try to take revenge and shit like that, and it just comes with it. It just comes with it. My coaching took off after I, got the right business coaches. I started doing better, and the better I do, I hear my name thrown around. It's like, it gets back to me, because I have people that are loyal to me, which is cool, and I'm grateful for that. But I mean, I'm telling you, the better I do, now and then, my name just pops up, and I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I have so much else to think about besides somebody else being hurt, that under the impression that they can't do what I'm doing. Anybody can do what I'm doing. I didn't have, $10,000 to fund some huge launch or whatever. It wasn't like that. I have my phone, my laptop, and an internet connection. And all I've done is been honest in everything I've said on here. All my shit is public because I have nothing to hide. And I've been sincere with people, and I have sincerely tried to help as many people as I could with whatever I knew how to. And I've kept integrity and honesty and sincerity as my, tenets or whatever. I'm just like, I take it seriously. I take helping people seriously. I don't have a facade. I don't have anything that I'm trying to I don't have some image I'm trying to maintain. Well, maybe, but it's like my image of me as who I really am. I don't get on here and brag about shit or whatever, to try to look a certain way or to try to be or come off as a certain way or have people think a certain thing about me. I just say what it is. If you go back and read all my stuff, all my posts, you can see that I say shit that's on my heart. I say what's on my heart, and that's it. I have nothing else. So I know that there are going to be people who like me and people who don't. I'm here to fuck with the people who like me. And if you don't, then you don't have to. Then you can go find something else to do. It's fine. There's something for everybody. This world is way too big to be worrying about whether or not somebody likes me. It's way too big for that. There's too many other people that you can go fool with who are going to be more aligned with you. Go do that. You know what I mean? That comes with power. Because I'm a lot more powerful now than I was fucking 6 months ago, or even, a year ago, or and God knows, let's say 3 years ago. Like, especially after I left Virginia Beach and came back to Alabama. Once I came back here, I cut ties so much, like emotionally and energetically, and really, I really released a lot when I moved away. It was good, and that was like stepping into a new level of power entirely, because like getting physically away from that area and coming back to my family's hometown was a game changer. So there's always going to be ways that you can take power back, but just know that when you have it, the better you look, the better it gets, the better it gets. But at the same time, the better you look, I mean socially, image wise, and physically, of course, as we all know, like the better you look physically, people are going to hate you, but the more that you look better socially and image wise and presentability wise, there's going to be people that hate you because they think they can't do it. They certainly can. It's just that they don't know that. So when that happens, you have to remind yourself, okay, and the narcissist as well. The narcissist is going to hate your guts when you get away from them, because they lost power. They lost control. And you have to remember, instead of wasting your energy being vengeful towards them or hating them or whatever, you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to do that. All you have to do is remind yourself, you know what, especially with a narcissist, that person has a mental problem that they have never sought help for one thing, and they need some serious therapy. A life coach can't help them. A narcissist, I'm not going to say anything different. They need a real and true therapist or psychologist, what have you. Like, they need, like, a life coach ain't gonna fix that. Unless they've got a degree in therapy, then good. But I mean, they need the deep dive, that I would never be able to do for them. But that being the case, that person being who they are, they lost a lot when they lost you, and you're just getting away from them has put you so much higher than them, because you can just go back to being you, and you can like rediscover yourself. I have been rediscovering myself lately, and it feels really good, like discovering all the old parts of me that were good, that were wholesome, that were real, that were genuine, and I've really reclaimed a lot of that lately, and I feel good. I feel like I'm like back to the old me in all the good ways, and I'm enjoying that. And I thought, wow, the narcissist didn't take that from me. That's This feels pretty good. And that's a way of stepping back into your power. There's so many ways to become powerful. I should probably make a video about that because that's a really good topic, actually. So I may do that. But so anyway, that's what you have to be. That's the final step in the 12 weeks with me, is at the end of it, you have to be ready to be powerful, because with that comes a lot of maturity, which you will have gained through the 12 weeks anyway, you know, because you'll have to if you want to do better. You'll have to. Maturity is a choice, but it's a choice you have to make. See what I mean? So, you don't have to do it, but you might have to. So that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that put that into perspective for y'all, and I hope that was clear. And so that's some stuff you can remember if you want to be a great client. Having clarity and having some understanding of that stuff, and just like, and finally, I think, you know, I also want to add, to be ready to accept yourself at whatever level you're on. People say that and like, oh yeah, I know that. But they don't think about it. Because when you get in there and you get the coaching or you get the therapy or what have you, and that person who's leading you will say, well, you know, it sounds like you blah, 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 blah. And then the person getting the help is going to say, oh, no, that's, fuck that. You know, yeah, you have to be ready to accept that that's the level you're on right now. It doesn't matter how low that level is. You know, it's not low. It's not even like that. Healing is in a spiral anyway. It's not a straight line. Nothing in the fucking universe is a straight line. Except for the ones we draw. And you can always crumple up that paper and throw it in the trash and start again anyway. But, I mean, so I don't believe in something being totally permanent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in hard and fast rules. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, healing is in a spiral. That's why sometimes, even though you think you're over something like that will come back to you, and you'll have to sort of deal with it all over again. It's because you're going up to another level of that kind of healing that is meant for you to do. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. Do you see what I mean? I had gotten over, you know, narcissistic boyfriends, you know, pretty much had gotten past that and had really done the inner work, and was feeling good about myself and feeling good about that. And then right after that will be when someone who's posing as a friend, a really good friend, will come into your life and change all that and make you deal with it all over again, just in a different way. Do you see what I mean? So it's like my healing went in a spiral. I did it for a while, and then like I come to a certain point and I hit a rough spot, and then I do good, and I come back to that point and I hit a rough spot. I do good, You see what I mean? And the spiral just goes out like that. If I drew it on paper, it'd be easier to understand, but well, yeah. We'll do this real quick. So, whoops. Oh, there we go. Okay. You have an issue, right? And then you get over it. You get past it. You learn. And you do good, and then you come to that level again, and you deal with it. It's to come in a different form, but you'll hit it again. And then you do good, and then you come to it again. You see what I mean? So you'll get past something, and then like later on, something similar to that will sneak up on you, and you'll kind of deal with the same sort of shit again, but it just might look slightly different. And you'll be like, what the hell, I thought I was over this. And for the most part, yeah. But that next event that's similar to the first one, it's going to still bring up the shit that you didn't quite figure out yet, that you didn't quite get past. And you have to figure out what that is. So, it's things like that. But anyway, so I'm going to leave it at that. This is a long video. I'm going to leave it at that. But I hope that those points helped. And I know that all of you, if you really want to, can be great clients and do really well and transform beautifully, if you want to. But you have to want to do better, and you have to want to be better, and you have to want to live better, and that's all up to you. And like I say, a lot of people are worried about money and stuff like that for paying coaches and whatnot. There's a lot of coaches that do payment plans. I think most of them probably do, for one-on-ones at least. But I certainly do. If you want to go to my website, MirandaWyattLifeCoach.com, or you can message me, Facebook or whatever if you're on there. If you can't do the payment plan that's listed on my website, I think it's for the 12-week, it's $2,222, but it's like $790 or $7 something, for a month or whatever, each month, for 3 months. If you can't do that, message me or email me, what have you. And if we need to work something else out, we can look at working something else out. You know what I mean? So I'm not closed to any of that. I don't want money to be a barrier. I've done a lot with working things out with money and stuff, so it's not a big deal. Just message me and let me know what your situation is. We'll figure it out. So that's my points for how to be a great client and make progress in your transformation. And I hope that helps. I hope that brought you some clarity and gave you some things to think about. And that's it. So thanks for tuning in and being here with me. And thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.